Hey, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the British media complicity in genocide in Gaza, because it's really been troubling me how for so long, for years now, the media seem to get away with consistent misreporting, blatant bias, misleading headlines to such a degree. And it makes you wonder how they get away with it and where that pressure is coming from that enables these huge corporations and institutions, BBC News, Sky News, to get away with outright complicity in genocide. I mean, I can't think of anything worse, morally worse, than enabling genocide and being complicit in it. And it's really, really troubling. So I've written an article that I'm going to link below in the Substack, but some of the key themes, kind of this systemic misreporting. So there was a study last year, Novara Media reported on it, that showed BBC basically covered Israeli deaths with 33 times more coverage than Palestinian deaths, which blatantly just means that the BBC think Palestinian lives are worth 33 times less than Israeli lives, which is just awful racism. We've also seen the language difference between the coverage. So when there's talk around the deaths of Israelis, words like barbarous, savage attacks, all these words are used. And then when we talk about the lives of Palestinians, it just says dead or sometimes killed. And it's that use of language to differentiate, as if these different souls, these different human beings have different values in their life, which is absolutely untrue. All human life is equal. You've seen so many headlines where it's almost like literary gymnastics to try and hide the fact of what happens. Some of these awful ones, the worst one, if I just flick through here from The Guardian: Palestinian journalist hit in head by bullet during raid on terror suspect's home. A man is shot in the head, and they've written hit in the head by bullet. You've then consistently got Sky News and BBC News just saying, 20 Palestinians dead, as if it's just happened by accident, not that they've actually been brutally murdered by the Israeli Defense Force. And it's this continued pattern. You've also got media outlets repeating propaganda from the IDF and Israeli government as if it's true. A hospital blown up to target Hamas leader. First of all, you don't justify blowing up a hospital; it's a war crime. And secondly, you can't just repeat those unverifiable and unchecked facts as if they're truth. And then whenever there's reports from Palestinians, it tries to cast doubt on them. So Hamas-led hospital says, or something ridiculous like that. And it's this pattern that we're seeing consistently that is going to be studied in the history books, I am sure, as complicity in genocide. The next generation will be asking why we let our government get away in complicity and our media get away in complicity, and we're going to have to answer to that. The other thing the media seem to keep doing is ignoring work that kind of uncovers state complicity in genocide as well. So there's been some fantastic journalists. Matt Kennard has reported about the spy planes, British spy planes and infrastructure being used to aid Israeli intelligence. This is complicity in genocide. Yet the media are completely ignoring it. We've also had declassified reveal stories about how British military have been training IDF soldiers to carry out their genocide. It's absolutely shocking, A, that they're getting away with it, and then B, that the media are allowing them to get away with it. Whereas actually the vast majority of Britons are deeply, deeply upset by what's happening in Gaza and very angry about what's happening in Gaza. Yet despite that, the media seem to get away with covering it up, pretending it isn't happening, and minimizing it at every turn. This casualization of war crimes. There's headlines on a daily basis like Israel flattens town in Lebanon as part of its ongoing expansion. It's a war crime. It's just destroyed a town, and that's how they're reporting it. It's as if these Lebanese lives and Palestinian lives don't matter. And it's racism, pure and simple. And I don't know how they're getting away with it. But one thing that we need to be doing is we need to be complaining every time we see this gross bias, this gross complicity in genocide. We need to be complaining to the BBC, to Sky News, whoever. We also need to be making sure we support independent journalists like Declassified and people who've been reporting on this regularly. And if you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend Complicit by Peter Oborne. It's just a fantastic book that goes through, it's fantastic and heartbreaking, but essential reading that goes through how the British state have been complicit in this genocide right from the start. It's fantastic journalism, and it's really, really well written, so I highly recommend it. Please do take a look at the article. I mean, it's hard reading to kind of try and get your head around how these people sleep at night. Things like how they've misreported on the murder of journalists, as if it just makes you wonder how journalists can publish that. And actually, anyone from publishing the story, writing the story, the people putting it out on social media, they are all complicit. They cannot say, I was just following instructions. They are all complicit. And it's time that people realise that we can see it. We can see their complicity, and they will be held to account for it. So it's really important that we keep raising awareness of it and calling it out when we see it. Please do subscribe to my YouTube and my Substack for more information like this.